the rest of the way that we set up the studio. This tile, which is an old tile, we probably couldn't even find these in the store anymore.
Yeah, you won't be able to.
So you won't be able to find them. So now, other than replacing this floor, what benefit to a owner as Kevin would it be to seal and change the color of this floor for him, not only from a perspective of a visual perspective, but a perspective of a homeowner? So what benefit is it to him?
Well, especially if you eventually try to sell, or if homeowners are trying to sell, one of the things that we've found is that 95% of people that come into an establishment, they judge a place's cleanliness on the floor immediately. So it doesn't matter how clean the floor is or how many times you've cleaned it. If it looks stained,
if it looks dirty,
then it looks dirty.
Okay.
And then they will judge you accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and this is especially for the realtors and property managers that we work with on a regular basis, is when you do that before you start to put your house on the market, it can actually increase the perceived value of your property up to 5%. Basically what that means is a buyer will come in. Let's say you have a dirty floor or a floor that hasn't been looked after, it has lots of stains on it, and then you have your sealed and washed floor. The difference between the two is they would be much more likely to say, oh, you know what, I'm willing to pay the asking price for the one that is sealed and cleaned, because I don't need to do anything to this place. I don't need to change the flooring. I can just move in. If I want to change the tile, which is old, I can do it at a later stage. I don't have to do that right now. I'm not going to be embarrassed by it.
It's that benefit of an owner that I can move in and start living instead of making all sorts of changes. That makes sense.
Instead of arguing the price down.
One thought I have is we just past weekend went to a friend's house that they're a wealthy family, and the first thing I noticed walking in their home, this beautiful home, is their floors. Like they had these beautiful, it was actually a tile, it was a wood tile floor, but you would never know it was tile. And both Sam and I, when we walked out, couldn't stop talking about how beautiful the floors were and brought it all together.
It's amazing how you said it, because when she said it now, I was like,
I never
you
thought
don't
about that.
honestly always think when you walk into a place, but the first thing that really makes the difference to a place, how I perceive how it looks to me, is the floor. The floor is, like, I always think of those images you see, and my partner in Miami, his condo's got this. You walk in, and the flooring in the condo are those massive Italian tiles, those super white, there's almost no grout in between them.
Wow.
And you walk in, you get this sense, wow, this place is amazing. Yeah. And then you see everything else.
Yeah.
Like it almost kind of closes.
That's how this home was.
It's when you said it now, like I didn't really realize.
Beautiful home. Like you walk in, it's like a U shape. You can see the pool right there. But the flooring just made it so warm, and of course they had it decorated very well. But the flooring made it so warm, it just drew it all together. And you were just, I don't know, there's a feel about it. You almost just like, you enjoyed just being in that presence of that home, that space, and it was a really nice evening. But until I heard you say that, I didn't necessarily process it.
Doesn't really, and then you think, okay, that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, and have you ever gone into a restaurant and the first thing you smell is chemical? And then
your feet slide on the floor.
Or sticks
even worse.
Sticks on the floor, which is gross.
So would you eat there? Because I don't.
Yeah, it always gives you that kind of icky feeling. You walk in a place and I'm not sure.
I knew a guy that would refuse to eat in places like if he went into the bathrooms and they were nasty, and the way he would say it was like, "What the bathroom's like that, imagine what the kitchen's like." Well, if their floors are like that, imagine what the kitchen's like.
Exactly,
right? It's the same concept.
I'm going to break us for 2 seconds. We just got our coffee delivery from Just Love Coffee in Brandon,
Nice.
so let's grab that and we'll be back in 2 seconds. Straight back in. Thank you, Lou, for the coffee. It's always welcome.
And I got my decaf for wife, so thank you so much, because I can't have any caffeine.
That's funny.
It is funny. I just wanted to mention, you were saying about the house that has the beautiful floors, right? So that's the other side of it. So you were asking about the benefits. So let's say you wanted to lift this floor up. Well, that's going to cost you a lot of money to lift it up. If you just want to go straight over it, it would really depend on what you want to put over it. Because if you're going to be putting LVP, which is a luxury vinyl plank, on it or over it, you would need to float this floor first. And that's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
So you're looking at around anything from, I would say, $8 to $12 a square if you're lifting and you're renewing or you're redoing. It depending, obviously, on what you're putting in.
Right.
Whereas with the cleaning and sealing, you're looking at around $1, $1.25 max.
Big price difference.
Yeah, it's huge.
That makes sense.
So the benefit to cost ratio is much better depending on how long you want to wait
Right.
before you do your renos.
Right.
So for a lot of investors, that's actually a great way of doing it as well. So we do a lot of work for rental agents.
Point. That's a good point. If you can salvage a floor and just clean it, bring it to life, I'm sure investors, flippers that are out there,
Yeah, that's a big one, right?
they're going to save time and money on a project like that.
And talking on salvaging is, I remember with the 2 hurricanes that hit us hard this year. On the first one, there was quite a bit of flooding, and one of the things that I find remarkable with pink pixies, and you see them online a lot of times, is it's not just tile and grout. There's also the carpet cleaning aspect.
Yeah.
Now, before Helene ever opened this business, I'd always see these videos that people post where they show that carpet cleaning. They take carpet pretty much black. I'm gonna tell it's a carpet. It looks like a piece of dirt from outside.
Yeah.
And they start that cleaning process, right?
Yeah.
And on the website, on the Pink Pixies website, which we'll put at the bottom of the page in the podcast, on the website it shows versions where Helene does that cleaning. Now I remember going with her. What was the first hurricane's name? It was after Helene.
It was Helene.
No, it was before. It was the first one.
Helene was the first one that had all the...
Helene was the first one, right? What was the second one?
Milton
and Helene. So it was after Helene, and I think we went to St. Pete's, and there was this house that was crazily flooded, right? And the water had receded, and dude, you walked in there, and it was a smell of seaweed and shit, right?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I looked at this place, and I was like, oh, that was bad. Like, I didn't want to even be there. And I remember Helene putting the machines out, she drained the water, she started cleaning. Dude, other than the fact that there was so much other damage from water that she couldn't do, that floor looked new.
Really?
It's on the website.
What kind of flooring was it?
What floor was that? That was a tile, right?
It was a Berber carpet.
Yes.
And then there was
carpet, dude. I
You
was
clean it and not pull it.
it had to be pulled, but in order to pull it, because it's so heavy from all the water, you have to get the water out.
Because there's additional damage. But when she'd done it, so when you looked at that carpet when we started, right? And I'll post the pictures on this section. You looked at it when it started. There was things in there I wouldn't want to touch with my hands, right?
Yep.
And when she was done with it, other than the fact that they'd have to pull it because of seawater damage or something, that carpet looked new. I looked at it like, how did you do this? I went the second day, I was like, how? Because
lots of elbow grease.
It's the machines that she uses. They have extremely high pressure, up to 2,000 psi, and the amount of things it pulls out of a carpet. Now, I have a love-hate relation with carpet. I don't want a house with carpets in. I hate houses with carpets. It's dirty. They're hard to keep clean. You don't know what's in them. But even more so after Helene explained what crap is on floors, right? Which I'm pretty sure she's going to lie now. Like, I don't want to touch a carpet with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
I used to be okay doing push-ups on the gym floor, and I'll still do, but I wash my hands afterwards now. Previously, I didn't.
Yes, we don't have the 5 second
Because I thought it was okay.
Yeah, no.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. Tell us why it's not okay.
Oh my goodness, I can't remember what the exact number is, but I think a square inch of carpet holds something like 250 times more germs than a toilet seat.
Wow.
So if you've got your children...
Toilet seat.
Yes, toilet seat.
When you say it like that.
Dude, I used to...
And that's for tile and grout as well.
Yeah, so I used to be fine with the 5 second rule. Falls on the floor, pick it up. Dude, I didn't have no second rule. If fork falls on the floor, I'm getting it. After this, I was like, nah, it's never happening again.
It's so funny because we're in the BNI, and every time I have one of those little tidbits of information, you can just... It's beautiful. You can just see everybody's face crunch up.
It's the cringe moments.
Because if you have small children, your children are walking or crawling on the floor. They're eating stuff all the time. They're putting stuff in their mouth. And yes, I mean, immune system it does need some germs to help it get strong. But does it really need that much?
Yeah, but I mean, also listen. Like, I want my kids' immune system to go. So do I let them pick it up on the floor, lick the toilet seat? So it could be either way.
Oh, I know. And there's grout as well. Grout can really, really hold on to, because it's porous. So you'd think, oh no, tile and grout, it's a very hard surface, I can mop it, it's never going to stay there. But that smell that you get in a restaurant is specifically because the chemical that they've been cleaning with, there's a residue, and it actually attracts dirt more into the grout now. So if you're smelling that, and it smells like ammonia in a restaurant, that is chemical that's been tracked from wherever they were cleaning, including the toilets, all the way into where you're eating.
That's crazy.
So normally what I do is I walk into a restaurant, and because of this job, or maybe it's just, I've always had it.
How often should a restaurant be doing a deep clean on their floors like that?
If they do not have a really good protocol, I would say a deep clean at least once every 6 months. If they have it sealed, that will be less, but then they also need to they need to adjust their cleaning protocols.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. You can't just, and I know a lot of restaurants, they know this, they say they know this, they say they do this, but when you walk in there, you can smell that they don't.
I'm going to pick on vegan restaurants for a second.
Oh boy.
Right? And I don't know why. Listen, this isn't because, maybe it's not because it's vegan, but every time that I walk into one of these vegan, and in our particular case, it would be like an ice cream place, and this is why. So we'll search online, and we're looking for organic and clean, and I don't know why organic and vegan comes into the same thing, because they're not. But you'd find this place, and it's usually a place that does desserts. And I'd walk in, and it smells like it. It's not the food, right? I'm not saying it's the food. It's the actual place. And I didn't know this before, but until you explained it to me, it's because the floor, what they clean the floors with, is the same stuff they clean the bathroom with. So someone goes in and they mop up the bathroom, and they can mop up the outside where they produce the food, and they mop the kitchen.
Yeah, I've so my past life, we sold these types of chemical cleaning products to restaurants and mop buckets, things like that, and that was something we always attacked, the mop bucket area, if you will, where like you just said, they're using some pine saw, dropping it in, and then just taking it through the whole entire place.
You know what I mean? It's the same time,
same
and effort.
dirty water, same nastiness all the way through, and it's gross, right? So it's just.
Well, there's actually a protocol that you have to follow.
Yeah.
You have to keep everything that you clean your kitchen with has to be separate. The restaurant area and especially the bathroom area. But and I know restaurant owners know this. Your staff, they do not care about your restaurant as much as you do.
Yeah.
And especially if it's something like an ice cream shop or dessert shop, they are just there to do the work for the day.
Because also, I mean, I suppose if you're doing something like desserts where, you're not necessarily preparing food, you're not cooking anything, and you're just kind of going in and I hope it isn't the case, but I mean, I've seen it firsthand. Maybe in those particular cases, they don't think it's as necessary. And I wouldn't have thought it was as necessary years ago, but until she's done this and kind of explains that what a floor actually holds, it's a big thing for a food, especially in food production.
So that's why I always say restaurant managers and restaurant owners that are not actively involved in the day to day.
In my mind, I'm sorry.
No, they need to realize that this is going on. And it's actually affecting your business.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Get it cleaned, get it sealed, and then at least for the most part, it will make it easier for your staff to clean.
But to me, the easiest review to give is the one that when you walk in and you have a bad experience or a bad feeling based on the cleanliness of the place. Versus think about when you walk into a restaurant that's immaculate and it's clean, you feel good, you want to be there, you want to sit down and enjoy your meal. And it's an experience versus
it's very different.
This place is gross.
I think there's a reason why they say it's so clean you can eat off the floor.
Sure.
It's a good expression. For being Pixie, so what is for your services? So there's tile and grout cleaning.
Yes.
Floor cleaning services, including carpets.
LVP.
What other services would you go? If I think to mind is there was this one of our BNI members, Roger, who's a fantastic in any construction jobs. He came forward and he brought you a shower which was pretty grungy.
Yes.
Tell us about the shower, because that's kind of interesting to me, because you never kind of think of a shower. You know what? It's the old man's. Someone spoke about this the other day, right? So I'm going to try and clarify this in the cleanest terms. It's walking into a bachelor's flat where they have the towel that they think's because it's a towel and it'll never have to be cleaned, and the towel's kind of stiff when they take it off the rack. Right? It's like one of those type of things. This shower reminded me of that story.
Oh boy.
Well, the house flooded. I don't know what the background is behind that. I just know it flooded, and whatever it flooded with wasn't clean. It was not clean water, and everything settled inside that shower. And it was very gross. We didn't know what it was. In typical fashion, I went to touch it because I wanted to see if it can be taken off easily. And I will never forget Roger's face. It was like, oh my God, don't touch that. I'm like, dude, I've touched way worse. But yes, he was right. I shouldn't probably do that. And we always wear gloves when we do this work. But that's from flooding.
Okay.
And sometimes it's just neglect. A lot of times people don't realize that I have to take care of my shower. It's taking a beating, especially in Florida with the hard water.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's a big thing, because